Hi, my name is Emily. I've been a broker with Transworld Business Advisors for almost 7 years now. I grew up in Stark, Florida, which is a very small town between Jacksonville and Gainesville. Actually, my ex-husband's job relocated us here to Orlando, and then I ended up meeting Mike Shea, and then he introduced me to Transworld, and that's how I ended up here. Honestly, I was in the restaurant business for 20 years before I was a business broker, and I went through the sale of 2 different restaurants, and it was a nightmare because it was kind of a sale from one person to the other without any assistance. The staff knew what was going on before the deal was closed, and it just was kind of a nightmare for everyone involved. So once I learned how great it could be to have a broker on hand, I decided that's something I wanted to do to be able to help people in the transition process. I just love meeting new people. It's kind of like a new job every day. There's always an adventure every single day. So many great stories and great people. This year, I actually had a client, a seller here in Orlando, selling a small lawn care business, and I had some buyers from Canada, and they had been trying to come to this country for quite some time. And so I ended up facilitating that sale, and this gentleman and his wife got to move here with their 3 children, and they have called me 3 different times to tell me how happy they were. So I live in the Lake Nona area. I'm a big fan of Nona Blue. It's a really nice restaurant over there. Well, the nicest one in the area. The people that own it are just great people. They always have great food and great service. And then as far as kind of nightlife or out and about, I like the Sky Bar downtown. It's got a great view of the whole city. So we like to go there and kind of bounce around downtown from time to time. A little known fact, my mom was a prison warden for 25 years. Which is pretty crazy. So everyone wants to know when I say I'm from Stark, where's Stark? And then the answer is always where the prison is. And then they're like, why were you there? And then I tell them that my mom was a warden. And then they see her and she's this little 5'4" Italian lady. So it's like mind blowing that she was the prison warden. I would tell them to make sure that they have their books in order, make sure that they have good profit and loss statements, they have a good CPA in place, because it makes it extremely challenging to sell the business if the financials are not in line. They should know that it does not happen overnight, that when we do list your business for sale, that we cannot give you a definitive timeline of when it's going to sell. So they need to be prepared that it could be several months before the business gets sold, but they just need to be patient with us throughout the process and let us do our job. I think when you start to think you're tired of owning the business, that's really a good starting point. Once you already get to the point that you're over it and tired, then it's almost too late, because then everything starts to go on the downhill. So when you're kind of at the peak pinnacle and you've worked as hard as you could, that's really a good time to start thinking about getting their business sold. I mean, Orlando is a huge city. There's a ton of people here, a ton of business owners. There's a lot of foreign buyers that come here from all over the place. So it's kind of a modge podge of different business owners that you meet in Orlando. So you get to hear a lot of different stories about a lot of different walks of life. I have watched all of these business owners that I know in these little small businesses work so hard and spend, hours and hours tirelessly in there working to try to support their families. And so I just try to support those small businesses versus the big chain businesses, because everybody seems to want to gravitate towards those. If I wasn't being a business broker, I would probably, I don't know, I might want to be home spending time with my kids all the time, kind of stay-at-home mom, taking care of my house, stuff like that. I think that would be a good segue out of this if and when I decide not to be a business broker. My favorite local coffee shop is Vanessa's Coffee Shop in Lake Nona. And the people that own that place are so nice and welcoming, and they always come out and talk to everybody. My favorite lunch spot is probably Canvas, which is over in the Lake Nona area as well. Fun, friendly, exciting. Everything that you do, give it the most effort that you can. Don't ever do anything halfway, because everyone wants you to give your best effort to everything. You can call me at 352-246-2266.